Kayla, thanks for sitting down and chatting.
Of course.
I'll let you introduce yourself to everybody.
Hello, Mikaela Fenton. I'm from New Jersey. I'm a professional dancer, choreographer, educator, movement director, and creative director.
What was your introduction to dance? Because I know a lot of dancers start early, 2, 3 years old. When did you start?
So my mom took me to dance class around that same age, like two, 3. And I remember looking through the window, and I just vividly remember her asking me, like, do you want to do this? And I remember looking in the window, and I was like, oh my God, I could see them moving. And I literally thought they were ice skating. Like, I just thought it was like they were just gliding across the floor. Like, I didn't even realize it was dance, but I was just like, wow, I want to do that. And so that was something I was kind of just doing like once a week, just as I feel like a lot of parents kind of put their children in dance or some kind of sport. My dad is a musician, so there was always live music in my house, and both my brothers were kind of tapping into that world as well. So I always like to say my first love is music, and then my second love is dance, and then luckily they kind of matched up at the same time from both my mom and my dad. So yeah, just that feeling of wanting to recreate what you feel when you listen to music and just having that transcend through the body is just kind of like, oh, I love that. So I was kind of just recreationally taking class, and then it was just something I realized I couldn't live without, that I knew I was just going to do. And then for my 14th birthday, because dance is expensive, my mom, they were asking me and asked me to kind of like take it a little bit more seriously at the studio I was going to. Just wasn't in alignment at that time. And then for my 14th birthday, my mom was like, okay, like I think we can do this. Like I can see your work ethic in it. I can see that you really enjoy it. So then she let me start doing it like seriously, which was what, like 3-4 days a week, which was a lot, but that was kind of like my first introduction into it. And that was kind of my first moment of like, oh, let's do this.
And from what I understand about the youth dancing,
Yeah.
you graduate from high school, and then that's kind of the time where you have to make a decision of, am I going to go to college and do this, or am I going to take a different career path?
Yeah.
That was a pivotal point in my life because I was an artist in high school, and that was where I said, I'm going into business, and I left that part of myself behind to later come back to it. But what were you going through in that moment? What were you feeling where, you know, people were going for nursing or people were going for this degree, and you said, I want to go to college for dance?
Yeah, that was a no question in my mind. And there was so many opinions about it. Like, yes, yes, please go. Luckily, I came from a family that was very supportive of that. But there was also a ton of opinions like, well, why would you do that? That's crazy. Or like, you need to have a plan B. And my mind was like, if I have a plan B, my plan A is not going to work. So I think for me, like I said, once I turned 14 and I was able to kind of like be immersed in that fully and see the picture and having that time of waiting and like being hungry for that, that kind of was just like, oh, I'm doing this. And like my thought in my head was just like, I don't know how I'm going to do it. Like I didn't even think too hard about all those logistics about it. It was just kind of like I said, this is just something that's happening, and I'm here and I'm inside of it and I'm doing it. And then of course you have like things that kind of push you along the way. So I switched high schools. I went to public school, and then I switched to a different high school that had a dance program throughout the day. So when I'm meeting new people, I'm kind of involved in that more. And then when I was looking at colleges, I was auditioning at different places, and I'm getting scholarships to go there to dance. So that's also going to kind of help guide me in that right direction where I can have assistance in going to college.
What college did you go to?
University of the Arts.
University of Arts. In college, was there any education on how to make this a professional career and how to make a living being a dancer, or was it more focused on the art and the craft of dance? Because what I learned from my peers who went to art colleges and things like that, sometimes you don't really receive that business acumen and that skill to really be successful. Do you feel as though University of Arts provided you with that bit of information?
Yeah. Well, I ended up choosing University of the Arts because there was a couple other colleges I was looking at, and I felt like it was narrowed in on just dance conservatory. And what I appreciated about University of the Arts was they weren't training me to be a dancer. Yes, I was getting the classes, but it was more well-rounded, where I felt like I could tap in with film, I could tap in with animators, I could tap in with musicians. And so that kind of already had me in this space of like not narrowed in on dance and only technique and only skill set. It kind of had me kind of tapped into, oh, these people over here are doing all of this. And I see the way they're moving. I see the way they're kind of living and navigating those things. And then I will say our instructors were still very active in the field, which was helpful to kind of see how they're navigating. Okay, they're doing this professionally. They're also teaching. They're also doing this, just to make sure all the bills are covered. So did they do a great job at kind of prepping me for that? I'm not sure, but I think having all those different perspectives of it, being live in their field in that moment while I'm kind of coming up, I think kind of investigating that for myself was more helpful. I wish there was like more classes, the way that we would take dance class early in the morning and rehearsals at night. Like I wish there were more classes about, you know, grants. How are you grant writing? How are you asking to go get grants? How are you making sure that you're sustainable outside of dance? Same way as an athlete, like what happens if your body is down, right? Like I wish there was more preparation in that, but you can always wish for more. But yeah, I think I enjoyed my time at UArts because I was prioritizing being an artist over top of being a dancer and getting to see examples of that in all different fields while they're just in their bag doing it themselves was the most helpful.
And then you graduate from college, and what do you do once you graduate?
At UArts, I was craving more dance, even though I was dancing all day long. I just felt like I wanted to dance in a different way. So my sophomore year, I had auditioned for, it was like the summer before my sophomore year, I had auditioned for Philadelphia's summer program, especially summertime, just trying to stay in shape. And again, they're all extremely expensive, but Philadelphia was local. I had known two of my professors at that time that were like inside of Philadelphia, and I was like, okay, I really enjoyed their class. Oh, Philadelphia. Oh, I enjoyed their class. Oh, Philadelphia. I was like, okay, something's navigating me towards here. And I saw that they had a summer program, and it was affordable. It was 6 weeks. So I was like, okay, bet. Like, let's go audition over there, see what's happening. And I stayed for that whole entire summer, got like chance to experience performing and taking class. And then they had a second program, which was like an apprentice company. And I was like, you know, I feel like I could kind of fit this into my schedule. I know I'm in classes all day. I know I'm in rehearsals all night, but their schedule is later in the night. So it started at 7, plus I was working. But I was just like, I don't know, I just feel like something is calling me there, so let's follow that. And so I ended up doing their second company for 3 years while I was in college, which brought me to a ton of opportunities taking class with the company and just kind of being around and seeing how company world and company dance like works while I was still in college, kind of honing my craft. So it was a cool like dichotomy to kind of be like, oh, these are professionals doing what I want to do. I'm not there yet, but I'm in the space and I'm understanding before I have like the chance to kind of take over. And so I did that for 3 years while I was in college. So then once I graduated college, I'd already had a contract waiting for me because the director at the time, she could see like my work ethic. I was going there all night. Rehearsals was until 11 o'clock at night. And I was waking up 8:30 a.m. ballet, full day of classes, full day of rehearsals, working another job on top of that. And I just remember she was like, you know, it was right before I started my senior year. She was like, you know, I would hire you right now, but I want you to finish school. And then she said, of course, your skill set is incredible and you're extremely talented. She said, but honestly, it's your work ethic that really makes me want to bring you into our world. Like I can see how dedicated you are. She said, once you graduate, you will have a contract waiting for you. And she was true to her word. As soon as I graduated, I had a contract ready for me. So I had a very smooth transition from graduating, which I know a lot of artists don't experience, from graduating to immediately having a contract. There was a ton of work in between all of that. But I was blessed enough to kind of have this kind of world that was already set up for me based off the work I was doing.
Okay. How long did you stay with the Philadelphia company?
So I was with their second company for 3 seasons, then I was with the main company for 7.
That's a long time.
Yeah, it's a decade.
That's a very long time. When did you stop with Philadelphia?
20, what year was that? 2 years ago?
Also 2 years ago.
A year and a half ago?
Throughout this process, how did you learn about taxes? How did you learn about marketing and all those things? Was that just from like being in the world, seeing other people do it?
I would say that's honestly still an ongoing process. And yes, kind of just navigating and seeing what other people are doing, seeing what's working for them, seeing what's not working for them. It's still something I feel like, especially as a freelancer now, it's constantly changing. I live in different states. I have work in different states. So I have all these different, not rules, but like, you know, each state has a set of limitations that you can do and pull out and put in. So it's still very difficult and I'm still trying to navigate that. And that is something that I wish didn't exist.
Okay. What are some qualities to make a good dancer?
Ooh, curiosity, investigation, commitment, even when you're not confident. which is committing to whatever you're inside of. I think being present and being adaptable. I think there's levels to it. And I think as you get older, you experience new things, you're around different communities, different people, you learn new things. I definitely, especially now as an educator, I'm really trying to make sure that my students, or anyone for that matter, like, okay, I'm here, I'm learning the skill set, I'm a dancer. Okay, then the next level, okay, how do I transcend that? How do I not just read the script anymore to the best of my abilities? How do I say, okay, I have all that information from the script. How do I kind of transcend that, now put my own being inside of that, right? So, okay, this is what I know I have to say. This is the integrity of what I know I have to say. Let me toss that out. Let me add myself into it and figure out how those two worlds can kind of coincide so it's more authentic.
And bringing this back to photography, since it is
Yeah.
a photography podcast, what is your relationship with photography? Because I photograph a lot of dancers, and some dancers are great dancers and performers, and they're not great in front of the camera. And what in you made you say, okay, I can be in front of the camera and take a good photo, I can collaborate with an artist and do these things, as opposed to maybe a dancer who can't?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think there's this level of performer that lives inside of you. And I think when you build a career out of something that you love, it's something that you just kind of start to naturally exude. And you're kind of trying to tailor that so you don't become Mikaela dancer, Mikaela daughter, Mikaela teacher. You kind of start to just create one new world where you're just Mikaela and you can kind of transpose into any realm you want to, right? So I feel like with that natural craving for being a performer, it's kind of just something that just starts to live inside of you. Like it's not something that you just turn on because I'm on stage anymore. Now it's kind of something I'm wanting to live inside of me. So it can go through any mediums. So it's the same through line, it's the same approach that I'm taking through dance. Okay, but now I'm working with film, I'm working with photography. Okay, it's not a stage anymore, but it's that same setting, it's that same performing quality, that same authenticity that's kind of pouring out. So the same way I want to go on stage and I want to play with the audience, and I want to play with my coworkers who are next to me and the people in the wings, like all of that is happening. It's not just this flat screen. So that way when I come and I get to work with amazing artists like you, it's like, okay, now we have this lens that we get to play with. Now I can still captivate you and bring you into my world rather than having to project out to you. But it's kind of like, how can I start to perform now with this new entity that's, today it's a camera, tomorrow it's a stage, tomorrow it's an audience.
What challenges do you face in front of the camera, if any?
I don't know if I face too many in front of the camera that I can think of right now, because I think it's so fun. Like, I think it's such a zoomed in, narrowed way of working rather than having to cater to so many different energies and bodies inside of a theater. So for me, the camera is like this more intimate space. And I love performing in intimate spaces where I can feel that exchange. And so I think what's cool is when you get to work with a photographer where they understand that and they're kind of bouncing with you and you're kind of going back and forth with each other. I guess a challenge would kind of be making sure that whoever you're working with is kind of on the same frequency or the same intention. I think that's a better word. The same intention with you while you're doing it. I think sometimes it can feel flat on both ends.
In what way?
In dimension wise. It can feel maybe like backdrop, and then for the dancer can feel kind of flat two-dimensional. So I think that's a challenge of trying to work, especially when you're used to moving so big and feeling that physicality in your body. So when a dancer is kind of just still, I think it's harder for us to maybe tap into that because we're so used to tapping into our body with it first. So now how do we kind of still feel that without the actual movement? Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Yeah, so I think that could be a challenge on some days, wanting to just have that energy come out through the body and kind of figuring out how to contain that, but then how to still let that exude in more subtle ways, body language.
What are some things that photographers can do to help a dancer have a better shoot? Like, is there things that you notice where a photographer is doing something wrong and somebody's doing something right, or things that you would like change to help you get to that space where you can create your best work?
Yeah. Well, I feel like things that always make me kind of catch that groove is making sure that there's a rhythm that's happening. especially with dance, right? Especially if you're doing specifically dance photography. Like, are we catching it on the way up? Are we catching it on the way down? The dancer understands their lines. The photographer understands the dancer's lines. And then you're able to catch that in the same rhythm, or at least have some kind of communication about that. Because there's plenty of times, you're dancing on stage and there's a photographer there and they're taking a picture, and then the one that's in the front cover of the photo is like, and it's like, so like that rhythm with one another, but then also that willingness to understand the other's job that they have to entail, I think is really important, which also I feel like kind of adds to that rhythm. Other than that, I think it's nice to kind of I love collaboration, so I don't want someone to kind of just tell me everything to do, and this is in any realm, and I don't want to have it completely free where you're just kind of both staring at each other. So I think just that open dialogue and that transparency for me is the best, because then it's more of a collaboration. It feels more organic. You can still plan it, but I think more so being prepared with an intention rather than this is what I need to do, boom, 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 boom. I like to feel that adjustable, present, organic magic that kind of happens from that.
And that's not always the case in art, because even with my job, there are times where the client's like, I want this thing right here, and I want it exactly like that. How do you balance your emotions, your creativity when you're being conformed to somebody else's vision?
Yeah, that's very real in dance world as well, right? You have a lot of choreographers that come in. They come in with everything written down. This is what we want. Go ahead, go figure it out. And then you have other ones that come in and it's so free, and you feel like you're kind of doing all of that work. So I feel like I've been in all of those experiences, and when I'm in the one where I feel stagnant or I feel like there isn't that collaboration, my immediate thing is to just go somewhere else, go tap into another bag, go tap into another world where I feel like I can get that out. That way it's not affecting the work, because I always want to give my best work, even if it's something that I'm not 100% not dedicated to, because I will be, but it's not my vision, right? It's your vision. So at the end of the day, I just have to be that vessel. That's my job. That's what I signed up to do. That's what I love to do. So I can't put that blame, because that person just wants to create their vision. So I hear you. I see you. Let's make it happen. But I need some freedom, so I'm not feeling uninspired or burnout, like you said. So let me go out. Let me go see live music live somewhere. Let me go to a restaurant where I can eat a beautiful meal. Let me go anything, let me go just see something else where I can feel like I can release that. Let me go to the studio. Let me go move by myself. Let me get that out. Let me get all those things that are inside of me out, so when I can show up and I have to do bing, 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 I'm not coming from this laid down place.
That's a great answer, and that's why photographers test. That's why we get in the studio, set up a test shoot just to create and really to execute our own vision. What's your creative process like? How do you plan a project that somebody's bringing you in to work on? Like, we just recently worked on a project where you came in as the movement director. Like, how do you prepare for that? How do you prepare for a dance job? And how do you prepare for like a video shoot where you're the subject? Like, what's that process like for you?
Yeah, I think it's always going to be slightly different, of course, as I feel like every creative is. I feel like I learned about my process through how I move through life. It took me a long time, but I am very much a person that is going to dive in. It's going to jump in, see what we're working with, and then it's like, okay, now I'm making it. I still don't really know what I'm going for, but I'm trusting my instincts. I'm kind of just improvising until it feels intentional, or until it starts to kind of build. And then from there, I kind of realize where my brain has been at subconsciously based off of what I'm making. And then from there, I'm able to pose it with a question. If I'm thinking about choreography right now, right? There's a lot of a musician I work with all the time. They're always like, what is the question? What is the intention that we're trying to say? What are you trying to say? And they're always asking me that at the beginning of the process. And I'm like, I have no idea. And that's okay. And I was, maybe that made me feel kind of like it wasn't the right way. Not that there's a right way, but it made me feel like I had to do that. Like I had to come up with a question first and then build upon that. And I think for me, it feels better when I start, I go, I get active. If not, it's just going to sit in my brain for forever. So I kind of I like to be inside of it, doing it, making it, and then at the very end, I can finally sit back and I'm like, oh, that's what you've been thinking about. That's the question that has been living inside of you. It's taking you a while to figure it out and process it until you see it in front of you. So I feel like it's kind of this, I mean, for me, it feels backwards. For others, it might not feel backwards, but it kind of feels like that for me. Like, I think as a person, I'm a person that kind of feels emotion first. I have no idea what the emotion is, right? It's like, whoa, that's a feeling. Okay. Maybe it's a little bit of anger. Maybe it's a little bit of sadness. Okay, let me go deeper. Oh, maybe it's because of this. Maybe it's because of this. And I'm like, oh, this is why everything was just happening. Rather than being able to articulate it and be like X, Y, and Z, and then kind of figuring that out that way. I don't know if that was...
Great answer.
Okay.
What's next for you?
I don't know. And I'm excited to not know. I think something I've been telling myself is to not, especially transitioning from dancer, now wanting to be more involved with film, wanting to be more involved with photography, wanting to be more involved with choreographing. I've been trying to not put any expectations on that, but trying to just follow the way I feel and like trying to navigate the integrity and wanting to always keep my integrity and redefining what that is for me. Yeah, so right now, I don't know. I want to be able to kind of have like plant roots in myself that can kind of follow anywhere I go. I don't necessarily want to be based in a specific city. Like I kind of want to be able to work all over the place and, you know, make connections and build community. I want to kind of create some type of pool or like energy for creatives to kind of come together and articulate their crafts. And I feel like it's kind of similar to how I was working when I was in college, when I went to UArts. There was something that was so special about having all these different artists together at the same time and just kind of seeing everyone in their bag at the same time, which I just love. Like I love being able to have that exchange all the time. And it's something I've been craving ever since I left there. And I found it in pieces in different organizations, but never feeling like that full relax again. So I want to kind of figure out how to build that for myself, how to create that own community for myself. So I'm not pressed if it's, you know, spending another 10 years in an organization I love to kind of redirect me, like I did with Philadanco, or I love teaching, and that's kind of been the closest I've been feeling that feeling again within the past 2 years specifically. Whereas like you just get to see and feel the whole entire room just kind of attack that personal intention at the same time. But figuring out how to like, you know, I also teach with a live musician, and that's like a completely different feeling. So now you already have these two worlds coexisting and collaborating in this beautiful marriage. And like, how can we add more into that, you know? So I love movement directing. Like I love being able to storytell through any medium now. Like before I thought it was just as a dancer, like I just wanted to storytell. I just wanted to tell stories. I just wanted to embody things the way that actresses and actors do. But yeah, I want to figure out where that community is, what that community is, how I can build that, how I can add that, how I can create that world. That's why I love movement directing, because it's like, to me, it's like dance is just on the stage, right? But like behind camera, you can create any possible world or worlds that don't even exist. Worlds you can dream up, you can imagine, you can mix things that don't even make sense. Yeah, so I just want to keep storytelling, world building. Of course there will be dance, of course there will be moving, but just kind of staying true to my integrity in the moment and what feels aligned in that moment.
Cool. Thanks for chatting.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.